Hello guys, Bud here with Dependable Lawn Care, and today we're going to be putting the Tweels turf tires on the Z3X mowers. I'm going to be trying these out on the 52 just to see how they fit, but this set is for the 61-inch mower. Kind of interesting. I'm just kind of playing around with this a little bit. So I measured, as you can see, the overall height at the highest point. These are 23.5 inches tall, and these are supposed to be a 24-12-12, so I mean the half inch doesn't surprise me, but this kind of surprised me. So measuring from sidewall to sidewall, check that out. These are just over 10.5 inches wide. So I just found that kind of curious. I would expect them to be, you know, 11.5, 11.75 or something like that, but they're actually only 10.5 inches wide. So I don't know how that's going to affect things as far as the fit. They are the right size and they're the right lug pattern. So I've got the 52 up on blocks, just 3 2x6s stacked up, and that's just enough to get the wheels off the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these back tires off and throw them on there. Quick side-by-side comparison. So the factory tires are a 24 9.5 12, 24 tall, 9.5 wide, 12-inch wheel. The Tweels are 24 12-12, so 12 wide, which we've already established they're only actually 10.5 wide, which is only supposedly an inch wider than these. So I'm kind of curious how these are gonna fit up on the 52. They might actually work. Before I get the other one on, that actually fits really nice. This isn't the side that I'm worried about as far as the fit goes, but that actually fits really nice. So let's bounce over here to this side. As you can see, the wheel is already off. Let's throw the Tweel on. Now I actually inverted it on the other side. Those wheels have, you know, they have an offset to them, and so depending on whether you mount them one way or the other, they fit either closer to the machine or farther away. On this machine they made them where they fit really close, so I actually inverted them so they're backwards from what they would be. Check that out. That looks sick. So here's the side that would be an issue, if you will, on running wider tires. So if I line up with my deck on the discharge side, you can see that there's about, I mean, I'm just guesstimating, but approximately an inch of tire sticking out past the discharge side. I would really like to run these Tweels on this mower in particular because it has those narrower tires, and you can tell the traction difference between this mower and the other. If I thought that I could make that work, you know, I would definitely try running these, and I might. That's actually why I wanted to put them on this mower, see how they fit and see if that would even be an option for me. So I'm gonna take it for a quick spin out here on the gravel and just see how the clearance is, make sure that nothing's touching, rubbing anywhere, because I might just order another set of these for this mower if I think they're gonna work. So yeah, that is pretty sweet. The only other issue, potential issue I guess I should say, is fitting through gates. But our tightest gate that we take this mower through still has 2 or 3 inches of clearance, which, you know, obviously that's not going to be an issue with this because it's so close. You know, it's only making the mower about 1 inch wider on the discharge side than on the other side. You know, you still have almost the same amount of clearance, maybe 1 inch less, I'd say. Actually, probably exactly 1 inch less than I had before on the trim side. But yeah, I was just putting these on there to kind of play around with the idea. But guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and roll with it. I'm going to tighten these up, and we're going to use it this week and see how it does. These Tweels cost me $5.20 a piece before tax. So after everything was said and done, you know, tax and all of that, and this is in Missouri. I don't know how much that affects prices, you know, state to state, but in my state, in my town, I paid $1,125 for the set. So they're definitely not cheap. They are cheaper than they were when they first came out, but still not cheap by any means. You know, I'm not looking at this as saving me money on tires. The main reason that I wanted to try these and give them a shot is because the ride quality is supposed to be a lot better. Traction is supposed to be a lot better. You'll never have downtime because of flat tires, so that's a big plus. One of the reasons the traction is better is not because of a difference in tire size, but because you have the full contact of the tread at all times. Whereas on a pneumatic tire, you have the arch from the air pressure. So you either have an arch that keeps you from only getting traction in the center of the tire, or on the bottom side, if you let out enough air pressure, then you'll get more of the tread on the bottom giving you traction, but you still don't get the full width of the tire like you do with the Tweels. That's one of the things that they advertise is that your traction per square inch, you know, you get to utilize so much more of that than you do with a pneumatic tire. And you can see how much of that tire is making contact with the ground, how it sort of flattens out on the bottom to make contact. So, you know, that affects your traction because you're getting more tire on the ground than you do with a pneumatic tire. I wanted to compare these two side by side real quick and just kind of show you how it all pans out. So 52 inch with the Tweels, 61 inch with the factory tires. For one, I want to see, so 5 inches is the stick out on this side, and yep, same on this side, maybe just a 1/4 of an inch less. Then on the 61, of course, you know, the wheels are flipped around, so they're out farther, so you get better, you know, you get a wider stance with the 61. So 7.5 inches of stick out, and Oops. Okay, and same. And that's going to the sidewall. I'm not just looking at the tire tread, although I'm going to measure that and compare it also. But I'm actually going to the sidewall. So now the other thing I want to see is the difference in the actual tread width. So you can see I've got these tires deflated about as much as I can, and the contact with the ground goes from about here to the same on the other side. So you lose this outer, inch or so of tire that's not actually making contact with the ground. Of course, unless you get into something soft, then that's a different situation. But let's just measure the actual tread overall. So I'm starting at the lug, not the sidewall, and then going to the same on this side. And it's actually, you can see it, you're looking at it same as I am, 10.5 inches. So even though this is a 12-inch wide tire, this outer inch or so of sidewall obviously isn't doing anything for you for traction. Whereas with this tire, you do have a little bit of a sidewall. It's a beveled corner right here. Probably see it better like that. So you have a beveled corner, but the actual tread will measure from side to side on the actual tread, so 10 inches. Okay, and then the actual width of the tire itself is, get it in the right spot here, 10 3/4. Okay, so you see the difference in how much tire is touching the ground, how much overall width there is in the tire, and all of that. So that's kind of what I wanted to see. Now obviously, looking at them from back here, there's definitely a pretty mean difference in the way they look. But obviously, again, with the 61, if you turn these wheels over the way they were supposed to be, change the offset, then it would stick out just as far as the tires on the 61, rather than not sticking out very far like they do on this mower. But I needed to do that because of the overall width of the mower. Again, the deck, the trim side, and then the discharge side. I wanted to try to get as close as I could to the way it came from the factory, because this is a very good cutting mower. The only difference between the two mowers is that this mower typically just doesn't do as good as far as traction, because of the difference in the overall stance and the difference in the width of the tires. They both weigh about the same. The platform is the same. The main difference is the width in the deck. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys that real quick. I'm trying to share as much information with you guys as I can, and I'm also trying to learn as much as I can with this whole experience, because this is kind of a big deal for my business. For one, it's not a cheap purchase. It's an investment. I'm looking at this as an investment in productivity, in the quality of our work, in overall traction, just etc. etc. So ride quality is a big deal. I did check the deck. I checked the deck pitch, and right now it looks like the deck pitch is exactly the same. So I don't know how much these tires will, when they get broke in a little bit, I don't know if they'll smash down a little bit more than they already do. They may not. They might stay exactly the way they are. But right now the deck is pitched just the way it should be, exactly from blade tip to blade tip, 1/4 of an inch lower in the front. So I'll kind of check that after I have a chance to run it for a while to see if that stays the same. But it's nice that I don't have to change the deck pitch just to change tires to try them out. Tweels, I mean, it's still extremely slick. And there is some weight difference. So you got a 52-inch mower versus a 61-inch. So there's a little bit of difference in weight in the deck. I don't know how much. But now that I've played with it on the hill a little bit, the next thing I want to do is I want to mow a couple of strips and see how it does with the tire sticking out past the deck a little bit. Rainy and nasty out here, guys. Can't do much about that. But so what I'm looking at is the discharge side of the deck. Okay, I cut it at 5 inches, and then I turned around and made a couple passes at 3 inches, and I'm not really seeing any issues with that deck sticking out. I mean, it's not I guess what you would compare it to is the front tires run over the grass before the deck does, and they don't really cause any issues with the cut. Well, I guess it's the same effect with the back tires sticking out a little bit. It doesn't really affect the cut because I'm trying to shield the rain a little bit, because it's not pushing it down to where it won't cut. You can see how deep this grass is. This is one of those properties we mow every 2 weeks, and it gets pretty thick pretty fast. This is actually, if it didn't get cut on a regular basis, this would be a hay field. So you got to see how it does as far as cutting with the tires sticking out a little ways, and then you also got to see it on this nasty little hillside and how well it held that hill. Now, you know, the 61-inch mower with the wider stance and the wider tires, when this is dry, it does really good on this hill. But with it being wet, you could tell how slippery it was, and the 52-inch mower, I wouldn't even normally try to use it on this hill, just because it just doesn't hold hills the way the 61-inch does. But today, with the Tweels on it, it was holding the hill just a little bit better than the 61. I mean, it was still slipping. There was definitely still some sliding going on. You can see how wet it is, how soft it is, and you know, we've had rain for 2 days now, so it doesn't surprise me at all that they weren't holding the hill the way they normally would. But still, guys, honestly, I'm quite impressed myself with how well they did. So anyway, that's it for right now. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Get out there and make some money, and we'll catch you on the next one.